And I don't say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. Once again, we thank each and every one of you, individually and all of you together collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission. We have entitled this transmission, Interdimensional Portals and Where to Find Them. Now, this transmission will be a little bit all over the map, specifically the one in your hands. We will be dealing with a few energy portals, not all of them. We will start with some, and over time, we will introduce more and more and more of them in future transmissions. But for now, if you will regard the maps you have been given, we can begin. The idea first, of course, is what is an interdimensional portal? It is an overlap, if you will, a gateway, a doorway, a tunnel, an opening between one reality and perhaps more than another reality, maybe even several other realities, depending upon the nature of the portal. But the idea is that these are vortices. They are energy in motion, swirling motion, that breaks down the barriers between different realities, allows for a transition from one to the other, or at the very least, a utilization of the energy in that portal for whatever purposes you may intend to focus those energies on. But each and every one of those portals does have its own unique signature frequency that you can take advantage of more specifically if you are attracted to use that particular energy, that particular portal, as a permission slip. So with that in mind, we would like to begin to point out some of the ones that you already know about, but may not necessarily understand the specificity of that energy. We will begin with the idea of what many people on your planet call the major portals in the western side of your United States, being the idea of Haleakala in Maui, in Hawaii, and Shasta in your Northern California area. These being two major chakra portals. In the same way that you have chakra centers in your own body, the planet itself also has major main chakra portals, vortices on your planet that represent certain kinds of energies. Haleakala represents the idea in general of the heart energy of the planet. So in that energy, you get an opportunity to feel your heart opening, to relax, to let go of all of the constrictions and restrictions that you might have imposed upon yourself with your belief systems. And it allows you to let them melt and dissolve and begin to really open up and feel yourself and develop and expand what you call your emotional IQ, your ability to tap into and empathize and connect through the idea of emotional energy to many other things and many other beings on your planet and in other dimensions. It centers you and allows you more ability to slow down time, in a sense, live more in the moment, which actually paradoxically allows you to experience an acceleration in your life. By living more in the moment, you are not creating as much time, and that feels like an acceleration in your reality, in your linear space-time reality. So Haleakala being that particular chakra point, that particular vortex, the heart energy vortex on your planet, is very good for you to be able to realign yourself and let go and sort of reboot yourself on the emotional level, let everything mellow out, even out, go back to zero, and build yourself and crystallize yourself up again with regard to the kind of heart energy vibration that you would prefer to have. It is an area of support and nurturing, connecting you to nature in a variety of ways so that you can discover more clearly your own true nature through that heart energy. Now, coming into the vortex known as Shasta, This is representative of the crown chakra of the planet, that which connects you to spirit, but more specifically to your higher mind. In your own body's crown chakra, there is a kind of a vortex that looks like a cone with the point down here broadening up as it goes up to incorporate the bridge and the link to your own higher mind, so that along that conduit you can have greater communication, greater receptivity of communication from the higher mind, which generally translates in your physical body as the sensation of passion, love, creativity, excitement. So by associating yourself with the vibrational vortex of Shasta, you can perhaps, as a permission slip, based on your belief system, accelerate and amplify and magnify the connection, the bridge, the link you have to your higher mind, so that you can develop a relationship more strongly with the higher mind and the physical mind, so they can work together in a more harmonious way, allowing you to function on Earth as a whole person. For when you only allow your physical mind to attempt to guide you through life, you are not using the totality of what you are as a personality, as a person. The higher mind acts as the guide for you because, in a sense, it is metaphorically standing on the mountaintop and can see much farther than the physical mind can, which is down in the valley wandering along the paths. So the higher mind can say, go left and go right and stop there and back up and go forward, and keep you from falling into holes along the path. Keep you from finding things that are not necessarily aligned with your true being. Or at the very least, if you do find those things that are vibrationally not compatible with you, guidance from the higher mind can allow you to remain in a positive state and so extract the beneficial effect from whatever it is that occurs in your reality, because as we have said, it's not so much that what happens matters. What matters is what you do with what happens. And the idea of Shasta can create a stronger bond, a stronger link, and a stronger bridge vibrationally and energetically, and allow you to function as a whole person with the physical mind and the higher mind working in harmony, working together, and communicating very freely one to the other. As we have sometimes said, if you're only relying on your physical mind, then you are kind of functioning as a half-wit in physical reality. So allow yourselves to be a whole wit instead. You can use that vortex, that chakra point, that portal in that way if you are attracted to do so. And remember, the things you are attracted to because they align with your belief system. That's why the attraction is there. That's the magnetic pull that tells you, for right now at least, that particular permission slip is aligned sufficiently with your belief system to allow you to take advantage of it in such a way as to actually alter your belief system and allow you to give yourself more permission to be more of who you are. Now, let's come down to the idea of what might be called the sort of smaller portals in that sense. None of them are less important, but they have a little bit more distinctiveness and specificity about what it is they represent. And we're going to start down in the vortex and the portal that is labeled on the map as Roswell. Obviously, many of you know that this is associated with the idea of UFO activity and the beginning of the revelation of the existence of extraterrestrial beings on your planet and observing your planet and interacting with your planet in a variety of ways. It has come to symbolize the beginning of the era of your real conscious awareness of the existence of extraterrestrial beings. And therefore, Roswell itself represents and has been given the embodiment of the vibration of extraterrestrial energy and things that have to do with extraterrestrial information and relationship. So that particular vortex is good for magnifying, guiding, directing, focusing, and amplifying any ideas that you may wish to expand upon within your own relationships and connections to extraterrestrial energy, which you all have to some degree, or we probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you. So you can use the Roswell vortex in this way, if you wish. Now you see, going up into the idea of Santa Fe, that this particular vortex has to do with what's called ancestors, and this can mean a number of different things. This is more the idea of ancient connections on your planet, and not only ancestral connections to spirits that may be guiding you, spirit guides, so on and so forth, soul family members, so on and so forth, but also connects to intra-dimensional beings that we have talked about before, called the Kachinas, who live in a dimension that is actually in between other dimensions, and form a kind of ancestor soul energy that connects you to the earth in a variety of natural ways. In Santa Fe, you can not only connect to these ancestor spirits and the Kachinas very strongly, but also get in touch with Gaia itself in a very unique way, with the consciousness of the planet, of Earth itself, expressing itself in a very unique way as it connects to other dimensions and has communication and dialogues with these kinds of beings, spirit guides and Kachinas and so forth. So this is a very reverential kind of energy, in a sense, a very introspective kind of energy that allows you to really get in touch with your connections to the earth, your connections to your spirit guides, your connections to your ancestor spirits, your connections to your soul family, and your connections to the Kachinas that bring about connections emotionally to many different kinds of things and patterns on your planet, such as the weather, and many other kinds of expressions of collective energy on your planet. So, in going to Santa Fe, if you are attracted to do so, you can strengthen the bonds of that understanding and dig more deeply down into your own inner being as it relates to these other beings that we have just mentioned, and the earth itself. Now we go up to an area that is generally referred to as Canyonlands, but specifically the idea of Upheaval Dome. Upheaval Dome is actually an impact crater on your planet and connects to the idea of interdimensional energy, not only coming from space in that sense, but coming through and cracking open into different dimensions, a very strong, powerful electromagnetic portal that can have very profound and maybe sometimes even dizzying or disorienting effects on you as you stand in its energy, and it attempts to reorient you to different dimensional experiences within your own consciousness. So for those seeking a much, much more different kind of spiraling orientation and more awareness of different dimensions as they overlap with your reality, Upheaval Dome is very good for this and getting in touch with the different kinds of cosmic energies that exist throughout the multiverse and tapping into those other dimensional consciousnesses that can communicate with you in a very different way than an extraterrestrial being could. This is something that transcends space and time in a very unique way and can orient you to something very profound within your being and within your consciousness and awaken things you had not possibly even imagined before that would relate to you and the connections that you may have to higher dimensional realities. And now we come to the idea that you call Las Vegas. The idea is that this is the portal of probabilities. You have perhaps begun to notice that some of the reasons that certain cities exist in these areas is because of the nature of the energy portal in that area. Even though many people who may have started those cities may not have been completely conscious of this, they are attracted to those areas and built those cities in those areas because of the nature of the energy there. And what better place to put your Las Vegas than in the portal of probabilities? This is where the wheel spins and all bets are off, and you can really start to design your reality and get in touch more consciously with how you can allow the probabilities to build up in a synchronistic way so strongly that you experience a very different kind of way of having synchronicity in your life and the things that are being attracted to you and how they can be used in a variety of different ways than you may have originally conceived of them. So this opens the floodgates, opens up the probabilities, allows you to play with the idea of changing probabilities. As we have said, there really is no such thing as a prediction of the future, but there is a sensing at the present of the strongest energy that may exist at the moment of the prediction. And if you understand what the probability energy is of any given moment, then you can decide whether or not to maintain that probability level or whether to change that probability energy for yourself. So it gives you a sense of opening up all these different possibilities and probabilities for yourself and really guiding yourself into the reality that you really prefer. It's like having a skeleton key that unlocks you from any particular probability and really allows you to crystallize into yourself the probabilities that are certainly more representative of who it is you prefer to be and the reality that goes along with that. And therefore, that is that particular portal. And now we come to the idea of a portal that encompasses the areas of Los Angeles and where we are speaking to now in your Anaheim. This is the portal of parallel realities. And I'm just going to say one thing to illustrate this point. Why do you think Disneyland is here? It presents you with the idea of different realities in one location. And as you wander through that particular environment, you are exposed to different kinds of ideas, different kinds of realities, different kinds of scenarios and environments all in one place to show you that in the portal of parallel realities, and of course this is true for the idea of Los Angeles, the city of angels, the city of dreams, that there are many different expressions of different parallel realities all overlapping in one location, so that you can pick and choose the parallel realities that really suit you best and also be exposed to different parallel realities to give you an opportunity to pick and choose things you may not have considered to be viable for you, but by being exposed to them, by being presented with them, you may find that you take a liking to a particular expression of a parallel reality because parallel realities infuse themselves and overlap themselves into any given one reality experience because you're not really ever just experiencing one reality. As we have said, what you consider to be one reality is actually composed of billions of different parallel reality shifts every single second. So you're navigating your consciousness, shifting through these billions of different versions of Earth every single second. But when you create an environment such as Los Angeles or Disneyland in Anaheim, you actually expose the realities in a very specific, concrete and crystallized way. And there are, of course, many more of them than are represented in that idea. But you get an opportunity to unlock yourself and really understand how you're plotting your path and how you're navigating through all these different parallel realities that are creating what you believe to be or experience in continuity to be one particular timeline, which is actually composed of many, many, many different timelines. And we will get into that idea in another transmission as well, a little bit more deeply when we talk about the idea of parables and time crystals in our upcoming transmission. But for now, you can understand that you are smack in the middle of the portal of parallel realities. Now, this takes us to Sedona. And as you can see on the map, and this is no accident, Sedona is kind of the center point of this arc of these other portals. They are all almost, give or take, equidistant from Sedona. They all average about 320 to 333 miles from Sedona, and they form this arc. Sedona is the portal of amplification and magnification. It is one of the more powerful vortices on your planet and in your particular North American continent. And this is the reason why our ship is above Sedona and above that vortex, because we are aiding and assisting you in helping to funnel and channel and filter that Sedona magnification and amplification energy to all these other portals to create a balancing effect in that semicircle, in that arc, and even including the idea of Shasta and Haleakala in the Western Hemisphere, but more specifically, more strongly in that arc of portals that surrounds Sedona. When you go to Sedona, its specific frequency of amplification and magnification is that it is like a mirror. It amplifies and magnifies what you bring with you, positive and negative, into that particular vortex, into that particular portal. And that's why we use that, because we can easily use that energy to shift and magnify and balance out all the other portals that are connected to it in that semicircular arc. So if you really want to find out what is being reflected to you, what kind of belief systems you might be holding on to that don't serve you, Sedona is a very good place to have that squarely in your face. So, this idea, again, of course, are representative of, as we said, permission slips. It's up to you to decide whether or not you are attracted to or gravitate to the utilization of any of these very specific portal energies. But we give you this map to begin with so that you can really begin to understand the specifics and the character and nature of each of these portals and use them in whatever way, shape, or form represents your highest passion. Does that make sense? All right. In return for the gift you are giving to us in allowing us to interact with each and every one of you, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? You may begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish.